right, JW Milwaukee, here we go to rock and roll to start 21. I hope you had an incredible holiday season, an incredible new year. Hopefully 2020 was a hell of a year for you on many fronts. Despite everything that went on in the year of 2020, many people had a hell of a year professionally. So congrats to you and your successes, and be on the lookout next week. We're going to provide some really great perspective on what 2020 was for the industry, what 2020 was for you and your businesses, and give you perspective on what some of the things that people accomplished in 2020. So be on the lookout for next week's team meeting for that. But we're going to kick it off, and we're going to jump right into compliance because there's an interesting topic that I want to lead with right away. So Steph Kennard, you're right up heading into the compliance topic of the week.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Kimmy and I just have a few reminders regarding expired listings and, soliciting expired listings. And then just one step further, I want to make sure that everyone understands the difference between an expired listing and a withdrawn listing. So it's in many of our practices, of course, to go through MLS, look for expired listings in order to attempt to get in touch with the seller to try and earn their business. But it's also in many of our practice and common in the marketplace for, as a marketing strategy for us to, as listing brokers, expire our listings and then relist the home right away. So as you're going through those expired lists, if you guys can just make sure, if you see in the private remarks that a listing broker has indicated that the home intends to be relisted, just to honor that and do another quick search to make sure that the home has not already been relisted. And then further, whenever we're talking about solicitation, we need to remind everybody that they need to be registered with a do not call registry to access the do not call list. So be in touch with Kimmy or I if you need to get that link. Very important for any cold calling, as a reminder. And then with withdrawn listings, we need to remind everybody that withdrawn listings are currently listed property and are currently under contract with a firm. So these are not to be solicited. Hands off for trying to get in touch with the seller on this. Withdrawn listings are withdrawn from MLS for a variety of reasons, and that's between the listing broker and the seller. Showings have been suspended, but it is, again, still under contract. And then just as a reminder, as agents, before we're entering into any agreement with a consumer, we need to double check and make every effort to make sure that that the home is not, or that the consumer is not already under contract. And that applies for buyer agency and listing agreements. So make sure you're asking those questions when you're on your listing appointments, and then when you're on your buyer consultation appointments as well. So that's all we have. Short
guys, it's a super, Steph, thank you for bringing this up. It's super important right now. Why? Over the last, historically, right, however long I can look at data, December 31st is the largest day of the year that properties enter into withdrawn status or expired status, right? So as we sit here on January 5th, and if you're looking at the expireds list, make sure that you're respecting your fellow realtors within the marketplace to make sure that you're reviewing the private remarks, because I can tell you personally, I have received numerous phone calls, thankfully not this year, but in past years, numerous phone calls from very upset sellers where sellers had a great strategy with their listing agent, and they felt that we may have had an overly aggressive or overly fortuitous agent that was trying to take advantage of a situation. So please just make sure that if you're calling on FSBOs or you're really calling on expireds, that you really understand what's going on behind the scenes. If it's really going into withdrawn to be relisted maybe in a few weeks after doing some work or things like that. But make sure you're doing that out of respect for your fellow agents, because it's a real egg on our face. And I get these calls, Diana gets these calls, Steph, Kimmy, on occasion when agents aren't doing their due diligence as it relates to who they're calling and why they're calling as it relates to expired listings. So Steph, thank you for a very important reminder, especially at a time of year when expired listings are at peak all-time high. Couple questions in the chat section for you, which Kimmy already answered. The
What?
question was, do we need, if we are calling expireds, do we still need to register with the do not call registry? And if you're not cold calling or soliciting expireds, FSBOs, there's not a need to register for the do not call list. So thank you, Kimmy, for chiming in. And yes, Patrick Simonis, your question, don't you have to pay to get access to the list? Yes, you do have to pay to register for the do not call list. I will tell you, we have had an agent in the past who was fined by the Wisconsin DSPS several thousands of dollars for not registering for the do not call list because they had a consumer in the marketplace that did turn them in, and the consumer was on the do not call list. So make sure if you are making cold call attempts that you are understanding your need to register for the do not call list. All right, cool. Lindsay, I'm turning it over to you for Tech
Sorry,
Tuesdays.
there's one more question from Patrick about for sale by owner. If you cannot call a for sale by owner if you're soliciting their business, you can call a for sale by owner if you have a buyer who is interested in that property. Totally okay to call the seller if you have a buyer, but if you don't have a buyer, you can't call unless you're on that, or you have it registered for the do not call list, which if you want access to that, please see myself or Steph. We can get you information on that.
Great. So every time you call a FSBO, everybody always has a buyer, right, Kimmy?
Correct. Oh, wait, sorry, what? I was reading a question.
Every time you call a FSBO, you always have a buyer, correct?
Yeah, correct.
There you go. There's Simonis, there's your answer.
Facebook leads, if they've given you your contact information, then it's not a cold call.
They're giving you permission to reach out.
And then also one other comment, as a listing broker, if you are using it as a marketing strategy to expire the home and then relist it, do give us warning to your sellers that no matter what we communicate in the private remarks, that people are still going to likely be reaching out. So just give them a warning. It's not going to be totally prevented, so, of receiving phone calls.
Cool. Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Kimmy, for the insight. We appreciate it as always. All right, Lindsay Vranick, you're up. Tech Tuesdays. What do we got going on with workshops?
All right, you guys. So this month, tech training is actually in person. So we've done several different trainings on how to create a Facebook ad in Command. And so today's workshop is all about putting that in action and sitting down and creating that ad. So again, in-person training today at 1 o'clock in the downstairs training room at the North Shore office. Lake Country on Thursday is going to be doing the same thing. So 11 a.m. on Thursday in Lake Country, right after productivity training. So you guys make sure that you're signing up for the workshops this month. The links are included in the January training calendar. So just so we get a gauge of how many people are going to show up so that we can space out accordingly. So if you guys haven't signed up, plan to attend today, make sure that you sign up using the January training calendar. Lake Country, if you want to sign up for Thursday, I believe the links are on that calendar as well. And they'll also be sent out with the weekly insights and resources email today as well.
Perfect.
So what I asked for you guys to do is actually to come prepared, make sure you have your laptops, and then also bring a listing to promote for the ad that you're creating. So if you don't have a listing, reach out to one of your fellow KW agents. Maybe they have a listing in a certain community or your neighborhood, like a community that you want to specialize in. So get their permission to use that listing. Maybe you're holding an open house for a listing. So come prepared with that listing, and we're going to implement this ad. And once you get those leads in a couple of weeks, we're going to do a similar thing, a similar workshop, but it's going to be pertaining to setting up those leads that you get from this ad on a smart plan. So come prepared. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But I'm excited to see a group of people today at 1 o'clock.
Perfect. Lindsay, thank you. Guys, one quick clarification as it relates to workshops and doing these things in person. One, we are limiting the number of people that are in the space because we have plenty of space within the basement to spread out. Two, know this, it's a workshop, right? The goal of it is to help you implement some of these social media strategies in order for you to secure leads, right? And if I'm a listing agent, I would be raising both hands to say you are welcome to use any listing you want. Why? Because your job as the listing agent is to maximize exposure to your listing. And if people are willing to market for it to you for free, I would be all for it right now. So again, these are workshops where Lindsay is designed to help you understand how to implement the strategies to secure leads. If you need to understand the step-by-step process, the YouTube channel that we have for KW Milwaukee has tons of videos as it relates how to walk through step-by-step process to set it up. So these are more of workshop type things to help work alongside you. And if you need one-on-one training, or if you need something via Zoom because of health reasons or things like that, reach out to Lindsay. She's more than welcome, or she's more than happy to do that. Cool. Awesome. All right, I'm jumping over. So it's been a few weeks since we've done market insights, right? And in giving you weekly trends in the 5-county metro area in terms of where is the industry going, and what is the market of the moment, right? And as we come out of the holidays, there's some very interesting things to understand about where we are in the market and where we are going within the marketplace, right? So I'm going to jump right in, and I've talked about this all the time because I need to ingrain this into your brains, right? I need you to really understand your approach to this business. And it's this idea of leading metrics versus lagging metrics, right? And the reason I keep bringing this up is the industry is so backwards. What I mean by that is everybody measures success based on lagging metrics. Oh, I closed 20 million this year. I made $200,000 in income. All of that stuff was the results of activities you did to get to that point. But once you've gotten to that point, it doesn't get you to where you need to go, right? So if you understand leading metrics versus lagging metrics and know that your leading metrics are the most important vital signs to your business, you will help rephrase and rethink the ways in which you operate to get to where you want to go, which produce lagging metrics, right? So your lead metrics or activities are indicators of future successes or income, right? Your lagging metrics are the results of prior activities, and they are not indicators of future success or income. So what do I mean by that, right? A lagging metric, I closed 20 million last year. I made $400,000. Great. You did that last year. That means nothing in 2021, right? So we need to be focusing on our lead metrics. We need to be focusing on our lead activities that can get us to 20 million to 25 million to 40 million, or even if you want to go from 3 million to 6 million, your leading activities are going to produce your lagging metrics, right? And so I use that again as an educational thing right up front to get you right up front, to get you thinking about these metrics in terms of, are they leading metric or lagging metric, right? So here's what I did. I'm going to take a look at December of 2020 versus December of 2019. And right away, right up front, I'm going to look at units sold. I'm not even going to care about volume. Why? The market, agents control their units. The market gives you volume, right? So let's just take a look at units sold in the month of December, right? And what is this? This is a lag metric. This is all things that happened of all the activities the agents did within the marketplace in September, October, and November that led to a closed unit in December, right? And what you can see is in December, there were 2,174 units closed in December across the total marketplace. This was an increase of 22%. Great. That doesn't mean anything right now because it's a lag metric. We've already turned the page on December. We're looking ahead. So what are we doing? What did we do in November, December that'll help us build business in January, February? Great. Let's look at some of the leading metrics within the industry that are going to lead us to future success, right? So here's what I did. Showing time, right? We've showed this across the year. These are the trend lines. 2019 is in blue, 2020 is in orange, right? And it shows you the trend lines of showing activity. And I pulled all of North America just to start to give you perspective, right? In 2020, showing activity across all of North America outpaced 2019 until March, right? And then March until May, it really took a dive for really, everybody knows why. I mean, I shouldn't even have to bring it up. at this point. And then as you see from about June 1st all the way through until about Christmas Day, 2020 outpaced 2019 in terms of buyer activity across North America, right? And so what you'll see here is right around Christmas, you notice the gap between 2020 and 2019 was really closing. And then at Christmas, it really kind of 2019 passed 2020 in terms of showing activity within the marketplace in North America, right? Now, so just keep that in mind, right? Now I'm going to jump ahead. And again, this is a lead metric. Why? Because showings ultimately lead to contracts. Contracts lead to accepted offers. Accepted offers lead to closings. It's a lead metric in your business, something you can track. Right now, let's take a look at Wisconsin. The story is very similar. Wisconsin, if anything, was much stronger in 2020 versus 2019 when compared to all of North America. Same thing, March happened. And even the buyer activity came back in the state of Wisconsin a little bit sooner. It came back in early May versus late May for the rest of the country. And then you can see here, it remained really, really strong all the way out through 2020, including over Thanksgiving. Right. And then we saw a very similar spike. Again, reminder, state of Wisconsin. We saw a very similar deacceleration in activity around Christmas, that where 2019 outside of the spring similar to the spring session, 2019 passed 2020. Here's my word on this. This doesn't concern me. I actually think this is more of a public health decision in terms of people not choosing not to go on showings in the weeks of Christmas and New Year's to protect loved ones and just risk mitigating. This isn't concerning to me because, again, 1 week is an anomaly, multiple weeks is a trend. So until we see this trend starting on January 18th, I can see the 2020 versus 2021. So we'll be monitoring the trends as it relates to showing activity. But I am predicting in 21 for 21 to outpass 2020. So this is not a concern for me. But again, I give this to you for historical perspective and a comparison versus the country. Again, showing activity is a lead metric. It leads to future income for you or future closings, right? Now let's take a look at sales absorption. And I looked at sales absorption in two ways. Reminder, sales absorption is the percentage of inventory that goes under contract in a given week. And I took a look at this on a weekly trend. And then the next slide, I'm going to give you a 2-year historical trend, right? This is a major leading metric. In my opinion, of all the data I look at sales absorption as the number one indicator in terms of what is the demand within the marketplace. It's going to continue to drive listings to move through the market efficiently, right? And if you look at this on the surface level on a week by week basis, again, from essentially July through the end of the year this year, you would say, wow, right? Historical rates on sales absorption were really, really high in the month of July through November. And then, oh my gosh, it kind of dipped here from Thanksgiving to Christmas. Here's what I would tell you, right? Those are historical all-time highs for this time of year. I mean, we don't usually see 6, 7, 8% on a weekly basis in November, December. So again, the perspective here is shared when we look at a 2-year trend on sales absorption to say across all inventory in the month of December, 26% of the inventory went under contract. When you compare that to December of 2019, it was only 15%, right? Every single month in the year of 2020 outpaced the same month in 2019 outside of March and April, right? This is a key indicator of continued demand within the marketplace in terms of buyers that are getting homes under contract and homes that are on the market moving efficiently through the system. Again, very, very healthy. And the reason why I show this to you is to say, yes, the market did slow from Thanksgiving to Christmas, but it was at historical all-time highs in terms of the sales absorption in the marketplace. So now let's take a look at units that went under contract December of 2020 versus December of 2019, right? When you look here, December of 2020, there were 1,568 units that went under contract in the 1 month for the 5-county metro area. That was an increase of 14%. This is a lead metric. Why? Because these are just units that went under contract. This means that these closings are going to be happening in January and February. Right? So now let's take a look at new inventory units. Again, units that went under contract is a good indication of buyers, right? And those homes that are getting under contract and the inventory moving through the system. Now let's look at what is the new inventory that is coming to the marketplace. In December of 2020, there was 1,394 units that came to the marketplace. The year prior, December of 2019, there was 1,322. It's an increase of 5%. Good. It's a good, healthy indicator that people are comfortable in the current environment, bringing their homes and listing their homes to the marketplace. Seeing these kind of increases in December is very healthy for our industry, right? So then let's jump ahead, right? And new inventory coming to the market. Here is my one word of caution. New inventory coming to the market was minus 174 units that went under contract. So what does this mean, right? When we compare units that went under contract is 1,568 and new inventory units coming to the marketplace in December was 1,394. It means in total inventory, we lost 174 units. Where you use this in terms of the marketplace, and the nugget here to use with your buyers and sellers is December even though new inventory was up 5%, units that went under contract outpaced new inventory to the marketplace. So it's actually not alleviating the inventory shortage we see. So the reason why I look at this every single month in terms of units under contract and new inventory units is so that I can tell you guys, based on what we're seeing and what the market is telling us, when inventory is beginning to spike, to give you guys the indication of when the inventory issue or shortage is beginning to alleviate. Right? But that is not happening so far yet in December 2020. If anything, it's compounding the issue that we've seen across December of 2020, right? So December's gain in new inventory units versus prior years, so December 2020 versus December 2019, did not keep up with pace with the units that went under contract, right? And it didn't alleviate the inventory shortage that we're currently seeing. So this is a lead metric. Why? New inventory units, again, helps us understand where our inventory sits within the marketplace to advise our buyers and sellers. Now let's look at expired listing units. This is why I had Steph really lead with the talk around withdrawals and expired listings. When we look at historically, December always is the highest month in terms of expired listings in the marketplace. In December of 2020, 867 units went into expired in December of 2020 versus 2019, over 1,000. It was almost a 20% reduction in expired listings. What does this tell me? It means the listings that are coming to the market are being priced effectively versus prior years, and there's enough demand to get the listings to come off the marketplace, and they're moving through the system. This is a very, very good, healthy indicator for your sellers that when priced right and appropriately marketed, staged, painted, whatever it may be in terms of your strategy, we can get homes through the system, right? This is very good. And again, reminder, December always has the highest number of expired listings in a given month, right? 18% reduction in the number of expireds is a very positive sign. This is a lead metric. Again, this is efficiency within the system, efficiency within the market. Right now, looking at total inventory across December of 2020 versus December of 19, right? 5,900 units. We usually carry around 8,500 units. It's a reduction of 30% inventory. This is a very similar story that we've shared month over month over month. A 30% reduction in inventory. Again, it's a lead metric. Why? I don't see this alleviating. Again, units that went under contract outpaced the new units that went to the marketplace, even though it was up 5%. It's not helping us alleviate the down 30% in total inventory that we saw in December. So then I took a look at the pricing analysis for everybody. And again, as a reminder, I will always send this information out, or Diana will always be sending this information out immediately after this meeting, sometime this afternoon, as a recap for you guys to dig into it. But from a pricing analysis, I really broke this down into a one-pager for you so you can compare against different price point. And again, as a reminder, I always break it down into 3 price segments. I look at first the price segments of less than 350,000. Why? Because it represents 72% of the total inventory. When you look at it in just December of 2020 versus December of 2019, the median price point sold was up 4% for this pricing segment, and the price per square foot went from 120 to 128. It was a 7% increase. Now, when you look here from the 350 to 700 range, right, that middle tier within the pricing segment across southeastern Wisconsin, that middle tier makes up 21% of the inventory. The median price point sold in the month of December alone was up 1%, and the price per square foot was up 5%. So again, if you look at this, this represents 93% of the total inventory. 93% of the total inventory in southeastern Wisconsin is less than $700,000. You can see both price per square foot and median price point sold. Prices are appreciating and continue to appreciate. Again, we look at this monthly to identify trends within the marketplace. Cool. And then lastly, the 700 plus category, the luxury marketplace within southeastern Wisconsin, it represents only 7% of the inventory, right? The median price point sold was up 9% versus December 2020 versus December 2019. And the price per square foot, interestingly, was down 29%. But I would not worry about that. Here's why. There were only 81 homes that sold north of 700,000 in the month of December 2020. And looking at the 81 transactional units, there was one or two major outliers that really skewed this data set. So, these data sets, they're looking at, hundreds and thousands of home, 100,000, between 800 to 1,000 homes that sold between this percentage of inventory, and there was only 81 homes in this inventory. So the baseline for this, you can have one or two outliers that really skew this data. So it's not too much of a concern for me here, knowing that the median price point sold versus the prior year was up 9%. So there's your pricing analysis across the three segments in southeastern Wisconsin for December 2020 versus December 2019. Awesome. So what's the grocery store script? What do we make of the market of the moment, right? And here's the market of the moment. What are we hearing? What am I noticing when I go to Sendix and people are asking me questions of the marketplace? Here's the number one question I'm getting right now. When is a good time to sell in the spring? Here's my answer right now, January 5th of 2021. The answer is now. The answer is not let's wait until February, let's wait until March. The answer is now. When is a good time to sell? Now. Why is it a good time to sell now? Historically low inventory levels remain in the marketplace. Buyer activity remains high. Little competition mixed with high buyer activity is driving pricing activity up, right? It's driving competition. Okay, so let's on the inverse of that. What's the flip? What do I need to do to buy, right? Have your financial affairs in order to allow you the opportunity to move fast. Time is not your friend if you're a buyer in today's market. Time is not your friend. So have your affairs in order to understand your financial purchasing power, right? You have to get pre-approved in order to move fast. So it still remains a phenomenal time to sell. And if you need to buy, we need to lay the foundation for that move now in order to act fast, right? So that is the market of the moment when we're sitting here January 5th of 21, looking back at 2020 at the lag metric, the market was up 14% in the month of December. Great. That doesn't mean anything. What are we telling us in terms of where the market is going looking ahead in 21? And all indications indicate that January and February should be very solid months for your business. So don't sit around waiting for the spring market to pop. Go make things happen now. Agents control their units. The market gives you volume. All right. So I gave this in December, the last team meeting of last team meeting of the year. This is almost 3 weeks ago now. Where is the market headed in 21? And here's the deal. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'll send it out in the recap, but I do want to make sure that we're really ingraining this in you guys in terms of giving you the right nuggets to talk to your buyers and sellers in terms of where we forecast the market heading in 21, right? And so I'm going to recap this again quickly because, listen, the holidays came. I know everybody had a great merry and cheer, and I want to make sure that we're digging this stuff back up so that you can be the professional in the marketplace and people view you in that light so that you can talk intelligently to your buyers and sellers around what the forecast looks like for 21, right? And the market right now is demographically driven. Millennials are the largest generation. The peak first-time home buyers used to be in their 20s has now shifted to the 30s. And in 2020, north of 45% of all transactions had a first-time home buyer, right? If you look at it, homeowners are moving at their lowest rates ever, right? They began tracking this data in 1947. In this is 2019 data. 5% of homeowners moved across the US when 10% moved annually. I bet that number even moved slightly down in 2020. And if you look at it, because of the advances in modern medicine, empty nesters are living longer, they're aging in place, and they're creating a significant shortage of supply. So here is a graphic as it relates to generations within the U.S. labor force, right? Based on the Pew Research Center labor statistics. Here's what you need to know. Millennials now make up the largest generation in the labor force and will continue to do so moving forward. And know that 45% of transactions had a first-time home buyer. What does that mean? Again, there is more buyers in the marketplace than there are homes that we can possibly sell, right? And then looking again, we talked about sales absorption rates. When we looked at December 19 versus December 2020 in the incredible increase across all of the year of 2020, this is the major indicator of demand of how inventory is moving through the marketplace. When we look at days on market, right? If you go back to November of 18, right? In the fall from November, December, January, you always saw a spike on days on market. And then in the spring, it drops down. And then at fall, it comes back up. And then if you look at December, January, February of 2020, it peaks, and then the spring happens and it falls. Again, this is days on market. And then across all of 2020, and I need to look at December's data here, but again, all of 2020, days on market never crept up in the fall heading into winter holiday season, right? So what does that mean? Homes are moving fast and efficiently through the marketplace, right? The spike is not happening at historical levels. Now look at months of supply. A balanced market is 6 months. Again, same thing. We always see a peak of inventory in the fall, winter holiday season. It drops in the spring. It increases as we get out of July, August, September. It peaks again November, December, January. It falls. And then what happened in 2020? We never saw the peak, right? We never saw the months of supply come up. We're sitting right around 2 months of supply. Again, a balanced market is 6 months, right? We're 40 to 50% lower than what we had historically been the last 2 years on months of supply of inventory. All right. Then what is again, going back to sales absorption, the other major indicator I look at for forecasting in 2021 is contracts written units. I'm not even going to pay attention to volume. And I just looked at the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months of 2020 versus 2019. This is the indicator I look at that tells me that we're going to continue to see a very strong marketplace heading into first quarter of 21. Again, don't wait for the market to show up. Go make things happen. We talked about the K-shaped recovery. Indirectly impacted industries, right? Economically, financially, they're doing extremely well. There's a major percentage of our population that have had directly impacted industries as it relates to this year. We talked about the US labor statistics. 1 in 20 are in the travel industry. 1 in 12 are in the service industry, right? The vaccination rollout will be key to consumer confidence and spending for the V-shaped recovery for directly impacted industries. Why is this important? Because 72% of our inventory makes up less than the $350,000 price point. That's where a lot of these people are living, buying, and selling real estate. So we need the directly impacted industries in terms of what happened in 2020 to really come back strong in order for our economy and the real estate industry to thrive in 21. So here's the grocery store pitch looking ahead to 21, right? I foresee interest rates remaining historically low. We're in a demographically driven market. There's a boom of demand because of the millennial generation entering the housing market. They're the largest demographic in today's workforce, and there's a shortage of supply factors because people are aging in place and people are working from home and working remotely, which is requiring fewer people to relocate professionally. The mass distribution of vaccine will be a boom to consumer confidence, right? We talked about this. And the 3 storylines for 21, demand will continue to rise with peak millennial age coming to market. Inventory will not catch up and will remain suppressed, and pricing will continue to appreciate. Here's my bold prediction. Residential real estate will be the wind in the sails in the US economy in 21. Book it. Book it. I'm telling you right now. Cool. All right. I'll make sure, again, as a reminder, I send all of this information out to, and Diana does as well this afternoon in our weekly recaps, insights, and resources. So here's what I want to leave you with, right? We did 2 things this morning. We looked at where are we right now? Where is the market of the moment? And where are we forecasting looking ahead to 21? And for the last 4 years since I've been in this role, I've always done something where the first team meeting of the year, I give the team a phrase of focus, right? For 21, a phrase of focus. And what I mean by that is I usually spend the last 2 weeks of my year reflecting on what the prior year was and where I think we're headed, right? And in 2020, my phrase of focus for the group was a year of great expectancy, right? Are you expecting great things to happen? Are you looking ahead, right? 2019 was a phenomenal year in real estate. No one would have predicted the health and racial issues and so many things that came up in 2020. But many people, despite all of that in our industry, had incredible, incredible years. And as I reflected on my phrase of focus for 2020, it was a year of great expectancy, right? And I would say for many people that rang true, and it came true for you in 2020. So congrats to you. Here is my phrase of focus that I have written down on my whiteboard, on my notebook. I have it in my phone. And this year, after reflecting on 2020 and looking ahead to 2021, I actually have 3 phrases that I want to share with you. Here are the 3 phrases that I am really honing in and focusing on for 2020 that I plan to share with the group. First, don't mistake movement for achievement. What I saw is a lot of people who were busy in 2020 that made no achievement and weren't actually doing anything. They were spinning their wheels because they felt like movement was achievement. That's wrong. Focus on your big rocks. What are your lead activities that are going to lead to future income and future success? Don't mistake movement for achievement. That's my first one. Focus on your big rocks. Focus on your 20% that are going to deliver 80% of your results. 2, I have a big focus right now on time. And here's the thing. I am really tired and I get agitated when people tell me I don't have enough time. I'm super busy. Listen, busy is a blessing, right? We all have the same amount of time in a day. We all have 24 hours. How and where we spend our time varies greatly. You need to be focusing on where and how you spend your time in order to efficiently determine how you're best using your time, because it's the only way you'll find balance in this business. We all have the same amount of time. Listen, Jay Schmidt and Rick Rubin and Maureen Stallé and Karen Trimble and Bruce Gallagher, all who sell an incredible amount of real estate, don't have any more or any less time than Joe Jones or Kelly Smith, who just got their license right out of the day. The difference between the 2 groups is one knows how to spend their time on their lead activities to build for future business, and the other doesn't. Focus on your time. We all have the same amount of it. Don't make time an excuse. 3, here's my last phrase for 21. What you give in life is what you get in life. And if 2020 has taught us anything, especially with all the tensions politically, racially, and everything else, what you give in life is what you'll get in life. And I'm going to let that one sink in for you as you think about how you focus on 21 and how you spend your relationships and who you spend your time with, right? What you give in life is what you give in life. So there you go. I've been doing it for 4 years, whether you appreciate it or not. It's what I've always done for the first team meeting of 21. So those are my 3 phrases of focus that I am personally focusing on for 21. Don't mistake movement for achievement. Time, we all have the same amount of it. Don't make an excuse, right? How and where we spend it varies greatly. Use it efficiently. And what you give in life is what you get in life. There you go. All right, Mandy, I'm turning it over to you to wrap us up. Upcoming training and education events to supercharge your business, guys. Take advantage of the spring market today. Don't wait. What do we got, Mandy?
Thanks, Charlie. So talking about time, what are you doing to spend your time? So here are some things that we think are super beneficial for you to be doing with your time. Family reunion is back. For those of you who are new, this is typically a travel event. So this is the first year it's going to be completely a digital experience. So something that used to cost thousands of dollars, you can go to for $120. At Keller Williams, we're a culture of sharing, and nowhere is that really more apparent than family reunion. Family reunion is way bigger than KW. It's a launch pad for bigger lives, bigger careers. It's where agents gather to gain valuable industry insights from Gary Keller and other visionaries. And it's truly a celebration of training and technology.
So this February 15th through the 18th, Family Reunion is going to show you where the industry is heading on more of a national scale. Charlie focuses on the local scale, and how to win your unfair share along the way. So from the vision speech from Gary Keller to tons of breakouts, it's really a not miss event. So if people want to throw in the chat some things, their experiences with Family Reunion, if you were at Mega Camp, the difference between Family Reunion is there's a lot more specific breakouts that you can focus on things that you want to really be focusing on in your business. So it's less of just one option, and there's hundreds of options. So if you want to focus on your social media, if you want to focus on cold calling, whatever you want to do, you can tap into those different breakouts and meet people from all across the country who are gathering and talking about their success. So we have a little promo video. Charlie, if you want to go to the next slide there, share that with us. Love KW's promo videos.
Oop, we'll do it next week, Mandy. I lost it. My apologies.
Cliffhanger then. Stay tuned. So take a look at that. The registration is open for it now. You just go to My KW, click on events, Family Reunion, $119. Go ahead and sign up for that. So January training calendar. Few things I wanted to highlight that are happening this week. So Tech Labs, Lindsay touched on, registration is open for those. I know there's some seats open for today's training too. So you'll leave those with campaigns running. So if you've seen the success stories in team meeting, you've watched the videos, but for some reason you just haven't set them up yet, come down, you'll have a campaign running when you leave the office. So that's today. Today as well at 10:30, I'm really excited. Jenny Klug from Focus Title is going to be doing Title 101. I will record it and post it to the YouTube channel. A few of you have asked. So join us at 10:30 with Jenny to do Title 101. The second session of that will be later in the month on a Thursday. So look out for that if you missed today's. And then this Thursday with Janine and Connie, productivity coaching. We're going to use your database for never-ending referrals. So scripts and role-playing to increase your production up to 1 additional transaction per month with who you already have in your database. So that's this Thursday at 9:30. And then lastly, the last slide there, a reminder that Ignite is starting on Wednesday, you guys. A lot of you wanted to take this. It was offered kind of in person in both locations. We're going fully virtual. So there's no reason to miss out on this. This is a great use of your time. It's built-in accountability. It starts on Wednesday, and then it'll be running Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to noon. It's action focused. It's results driven. You will be working on your business in the class. We always say the activities you do today, you will be paid on in 90 days. So ask yourself, what are you doing today to work in your business to have that blowout spring that you're looking to have? So, Ignite has one single objective, and it's just to propel you into immediate productivity. So if you haven't registered, registration is open. It's free. It's fully virtual. If you can only attend a few, go ahead and still register. That way you'll get the Zoom links and you'll get the information. All the resources are emailed out before each class. So if you can't come to all of them, but you want to come to a few, that's totally fine. Go ahead and register. That way you have the information. And we're doing a really cool thing too. Charlie and Diana have offered that if you have a perfect attendance in Ignite, we will cover your ticket to Family Reunion. So this is going to lead perfectly up into when Family Reunion starts. And there's tons of built-in accountability in Ignite, right? So don't miss it. Sign up for Ignite. Thank you to all the teachers who just taught it and are willing to teach it again because it was so successful. So that starts tomorrow with Charlie at 9 a.m.
Cool. Mandy, thank you. Guys, here's what I leave you with. Besides my 3 phrases of focus and everything we talked about today, 1, you cannot afford to not go to Family Reunion. What do I mean by that? Ask any of our top people. They've all gone and they've all built their businesses from ideas they've gotten at Family Reunion. The fact that you can do it from home for $100 is a no-brainer. You'd be I'm going to be very blunt with you, you'd be stupid not to do it. Second of all, if you aren't doing 18 transactions a year, you should be in Ignite. Ignite is being taught by the top 1% of our industry in Southeastern Wisconsin and giving you all the tips and tricks on how they approach this business. If you aren't doing more than 18 transactions a month, I don't know how else you're spending your time to help you build your business for future activities. Sign up for Ignite if you're not doing 18 transactions. Awesome. Guys, be on the lookout from Diana and myself for the recap. Lake Country crew, I'll let you jump off for your Lake Country meetup. North Shore crew, I'll hang on and switch over to new listing and buyer needs to recap for the group. Guys, thanks for jumping on. Have a phenomenal week. Talk to you guys next week.
Chuck, great meeting.